We got it now? Perfect. So first item on the agenda for the 2022 September 6th agenda is our consent agenda. Motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Next is our citizen comment. First on our list is Joni Hayner.
Good evening. I was coming today to talk to you about a couple of things. The first is the Prairie Pathways Bike Route Unveiling event is September 17th. We have signs going up in all three counties. They are just about on the final leg of being finished and up. There were a couple signs that we decided probably would be a good idea to have them up in some of the busier intersections, and so the design review board should be getting a application for that for you guys to look at. The T-Mobile grant, I figure since I'm here, might as well give you an update on that. We're moving ahead. It is a process, especially when you engage the community and want to get people actively involved in that process. So we're developing a farmers market survey for the vendors. We have the technical assistance from USDA, and we have that meeting this Thursday where we will be looking at some renderings that they have provided for us. So it'll be a good meeting to attend for that. We are planning on surveying farmers market vendors on September 24th. So we put together a draft survey document for the committee to look at and see, any of the edits or things that they wish to change or add for that. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it for my update today for you guys, unless you had any questions or anything you need from me.
Has any of our members of city commission or anything been in these meetings?
Which meetings?
Any of you have been? Okay.
The ones for the T-Mobile grant,
T-Mobile
I think
grant.
that's what she was referring to.
Yes.
Jody, are we still looking at a pavilion for the T-Mobile grant down at the farmers market area?
We are still following the grant proposal that was submitted and awarded to the city of Fort Scott, which is a pavilion.
It would be nice to have something covered for those folks down there, and it could be such a multi-use item.
I 100% agree. With construction costs that have gone up, I'm nervous that the $50,000 just isn't going to cut it. So we're and we have been given permission to do landscaping and other types of things in the event that we're not able to come up with the money. So I'm sure Matt would know a lot about that too.
Unfortunately.
So. Is that it? All right. That's why I love public comment.
Thank
See you guys later.
Next is Matthew Crystal.
Yes, I am the new commander at the VFW. We're having a 9/11 Memorial Weekend event. Saturday, we're doing a kind of motorcycle rally. Sunday, we're doing a car show. So I would like to request that 18th Street be closed from Justin to South National during these events, please.
'18th Street from where to South National?
From Judson
to
South. So our southernmost border of the VFW there.
Do we have forms for him to fill out, Diane?
He just did come in today.
Okay.
So,
You're going to do that.
How long will it be closed down for?
Saturday, I would say 6 until the event ends, and so because we're serving alcohol that day, at least, or the most it could go to would be 2 a.m. And then Sunday, I figured 10 until probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
We need that just closed down on Saturday or on Sunday as well.
Saturday and Sunday, please.
Where's this exactly at? I know Judson.
Across from Subway. The little VFW by
Okay.
Butcher Block. So Judson is where the movie theater is. So the curve coming around from
Have you
Sonic.
talked to businesses around there about this closure, since this is a busy part of the area?
I have not, but none of the other businesses are open on the weekend
Okay.
that affect that street front area. The bonding agency, chiropractor are both closed on the weekends, and I believe Marsh's Deli is closed on the weekends as well.
I think it's only Sunday that they're
But
closed.
they also have access from National, so.
Okay.
Could we get the paperwork filled out? If we approve it, can we still get the paperwork filled out and have everything brought back? Would you guys be okay with that, or do you want the paperwork filled out first?
I'd be fine with it.
Would you be able to fill out that paperwork now and have it to us by the end of the meeting tonight?
Probably.
Diane, can we do that? That way we can just come back to this item. Next is the discussion of the credit card fees for customers.
Devin Talley's here and he's going to speak about that.
So I think you guys got a handout from Diane this afternoon. Just kind of go over.
Was this emailed out? Was this emailed out to?
No, there's just. I did it this afternoon, so we didn't have.
You couldn't get the information early enough outside of today.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So just to kind of go through what we pay, we recently this summer moved to Square for the golf course and the aquatic center. So monthly we have a $60 charge per location, and then our transaction or our processing fees are 2.5% plus a 10% processing fee. And if you look at a 3-month average, those fees have been about $950 a month. And then we have Elevon, which is what we use for court and the water department, and also Buck Run. The average credit card fees are about 1.25% with an average of 42-cent transaction fee for those. And there's just so many different rates based on the different types of cards that I just used an average for the month of July for those. And the 3-month average total credit card for the Elevon is almost $3,700 a month. What we're looking to change to for the water and court is Tyler, which is our software system anyway, so it would work out a lot better and make it a little bit cleaner for us there. If we absorb the cost there, it's 0.34% plus a 34-cent transaction fee. And if we pass the cost to the customers, it's 3.95% with the $2.50 minimum. You guys have any questions?
So if the stuff is done through Tyler, will it go straight into the system without any additional?
Correct. But you'll still have probably a monthly charges for your software, like your portal for your cards and stuff, the reader.
Does Tyler take care of all the PCI compliance and everything on their end?
Yes, there is a $99 annual charge for them to do all the PCI compliance for us.
We would keep Square for the golf course, though.
Yes.
Is that for the beverage cart also, so they can do it out on the course?
Yes. And I feel like Square has worked out really well out there compared to what we previously had.
Can we get this put on the agenda for the next meeting about voting to move all of our credit card actions to Tyler, except for the golf course, which shall remain Square?
It would be the golf course and the aquatic center for Square. I don't know that.
Could you check into it and just see if there are any other additional fees through Tyler that we would be unaware of, and let us know in the interim?
Yes, I know one of them I saw was an e-check fee, which I don't, to my knowledge, we don't have e-checks, but I would have to look into that. But I'll look and see what else there is.
Okay.
I've got a printout if you want to see it too.
All right. That'd be awesome. Thank you, Devin.
Next, the appearances, Jessica Sager. If I said her name wrong. Okay. Shane Wood, Lake. Hello, sir.
Shane Wood with the Lake Board. Just make it quick. We wanted to follow up on the status of the city ordinance potentially being drawn up in regard to the sale of future lake lots. Has there been any update on that?
Bob, can you or Kelly address that? Have we gotten that ordinance written yet?
I haven't, because nobody's told me to do it.
And I haven't had any time to yet either.
Okay.
There's been a request, but that's all.
Yes, sir. Do you think we would be able to have that taken care of before the next council meeting?
2 weeks.
Sure. I don't think that's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key portions of that as well, as I recall, was the deed restrictions, correct?
Correct. Yes. I believe there was a list of 10 different items.
Yes.
Is that correct?
There were several items, but I know that one of the ones that kind of stood out after the last sale was what had happened with the deed restrictions.
Yes, sir.
I will tell you that the city has a deed that it uses on lake lot properties if we do the deeds, and it is in the current version of that deed. I put it in there.
Well, I would like to at least review what we can do based on the other items that the Lake Advisory Board submitted. And, you know, I'm happy to sit down with Bob when I get back, or Matthew, I know you're on the Lake Advisory Board, just to go through those items so that we do have something that we can review and possibly vote on at the next meeting.
Certainly.
Sounds good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And last thing is, was there any progress on the water quality testing? I know it sounds like from the last notes I read at the last meeting, you guys going to reach out to some of the universities to see if they could help with that. And just, again, just following up on the status.
Kelly, can you address that?
We located the one that had done, I believe, in 2010. Do you need something more current than that? We have a copy of that in-house.
Yeah, if we could get a copy of that for starters,
You bet.
we can look at that at our next meeting.
Sure.
That'd be great.
That I believe that's the Bath and Merrick study that Harold already has a copy of that. That's what he brought to that one meeting. What we were requesting, or what the Lake Advisory Board was requesting, was a water quality study and an additional Bath and Merrick study, since that one was done in 2010 and they wanted a new one done now. There was a message that I had sent you with the information on the different studies, and then the universities to get
And
in
we
contact
sent that
with.
out to staff, and they got
Okay.
the older one. I didn't know if you wanted a current one.
What we were hoping, from my understanding from the Lake Advisory Board, is that we can reach out to the universities and see about getting a news study done, a Bath and Merrick study, see about getting the water quality study done, and then there was a third one as well.
I'll go back to your notes.
Okay, yeah, if you look back on it, yeah, the lake evaluation, water quality, and the Bath and Merrick study were the three that they were asking to be done. We were going to reach out to the universities around here and see about that.
Hey, while that gentleman's still up there, Kelly, there have been a couple of folks that have reached out too. Are we addressing or are we looking at something regarding folks that are just hauling brush and limbs out there and dumping it in areas?
Yeah, we was going to look at whether the commission wanted to put signage out there, no dumping in those sites. I know that probably the lake, our service teams go out there and probably trim a little brush. And the thing is usually when it's in the county like that, they can burn that in their own yards. They don't have to make a burn site in a corner of a park or anything like that. So the thought was whether or not we wanted to actually post signs, no dumping, limb dumping in those spots. Yeah,
because I mean, do we know? I mean, for sure where it's coming from, or just people from the county, or is it residents? Is it tree trimming trees?
Yeah, and it may not even be lake residents.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is since we don't know, probably the best coverall might be to think about putting some signs out there.
Okay.
And then additionally, we had asked about Doug being here this evening to go over all of the projects.
In the corner. He's here.
Doug is? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's all I had, other than I wanted to thank Matthew for participating in our last handful of meetings. We all think he's been great. So thanks for your time, man.
He is great. Next is Travis Sawyer.
Hello. We'd like to request permission to close the Riverfront Park, is what I think it is, the spot where you drive under the underpass, the 14th and 15th of October, in order to do like a spooky trail or a hayride back there.
Travis, on your application, it just stated one day for the 15th, so you're needing it for 2?
Yes. And then we'd like the possibility to possibly do it the 28th and 29th as well, if it's a big hit on the 14th and 15th.
Do we require?
Do we have an agenda?
Diane, do you know if we have any conflicts already for those additional dates that anyone has submitted anything for?
I'm not aware of that. This might be something we want to run through Jerry Witt, since he heads up the Riverfront there. You know, are they going to charge, or are they going to, is it a free thing?
We were talking.
We might check with our city insurance, the liability on it.
What were you going to say, Travis?
We were talking about taking donations to possibly put towards our next event. We do hot cocoa and cookies every year for Christmas.
Do you have event liability insurance?
I do not.
I assume you're going to get it.
We were going to look into it, yes.
Okay. Well, normally on city property for those things, we require it.
Okay.
So I think it's more than just looking into. Because if something happens, you personally could be held responsible, and I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah. We wanted to make sure we'd be able to do it before.
Sure. Sure. Smart.
Thank you.
When is the next Riverfront Board meeting?
I'm not sure. I just usually call Jerry and tell him what requests.
Okay.
Usually if there's a wedding or something down there, I let you know. Another thing would be parking. You know, they probably have to get approval from Twister Trailer to park in their lot over there. But
Travis, have you reached out to Twister Trailer or anything like that yet?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I figured with no permission, it doesn't.
Right.
do
No,
any good
I
to ask a
understand.
bunch of
Yes, sir.
questions.
Yeah.
We were talking about trying to see if Jesse down there at the bike shop would let him park up in that field there.
In that field there.
Okay.
Diane, would you be willing to reach out to Jerry on behalf of Mr. Sawyer? Thank you.
Can we table this for the next agenda to discuss, see if we can get with Jerry and,
I think it's a wonderful idea, Travis. And if you want to go ahead and reach out to the owner of the bike shop to see if he would allow you to park, and then maybe reach out to the guys at Twister Trailer too, and see if they would allow you to have parking over there for overflow if you needed it. And then, if you don't mind coming back to the next meeting, we'll take a look at it.
We can do that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to go back to this? Okay. Diane, can we go back to the application for temporary street closure real quick before we move on to the new business?
So, Katie, it's just the east-west street there at 18th, correct, between Judson and National? It's not affecting National other than people that might use that to go through there?
That little breakdown?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm a member of the VFW, so I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I would move to approve this request to close the street between 18th and Justin on the requested dates.
Do you need any barricades or anything like that?
Yes, please.
How many are you needing?
I don't know. I would assume that just cones would be adequate. If they could drop off 8 cones, should be plenty.
And what time were you needing these? Friday night?
I would say if
8 a.m.
one of the city guys could drop them by Friday before close of business, that'd be great. They're closed, not ours.
I'll second it.
Okay.
If we could make a notation on there to provide the cones, and I would like at least one barricade on either end. Just
Safety.
people come down 18th Street there to that corner. I've seen them fly and just kind of jump over that little hill heading towards that stop sign. So I'd really like at least one there to deter people from.
If they want to put 2 there, then they could stage them, and then I'll move them when we're ready for it. If that's okay.
So 2 and 1 at the other end, so 3 altogether.
That'd be great.
I'm also a member of VFW, so I will take care of the barricade.
Thank you, Bill.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Tim Dendicky,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Thank you for filling that out. Seeing nothing on public hearing, we're going to move to new business, the consideration of demolition bid for 623 Short Street. Dan, was there anyone here for that?
Oh,
Is there anyone here for the 623 Short Street?
Is anyone from Codes there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is Thomas. I'm here with the codes office. At this point, no, I have not seen or spoken with anyone on the 623 Short address.
Then I will motion that we accept the lowest bid, Dave's Demolition, for $2,800 on the demolition of 623 Short Street.
Second that.
Walker,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tim Van Vicky,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Next is consideration of demolition bid for 220 South Judson Street.
Thomas, do we have any updates on that? Because, I mean, I see scaffolding and ladders and stuff over there, but has there been any significant changes?
So I had spoken with Mr. Coffey. I thought he was going to be here this evening as well. He was supposed to bring some photos. I have seen a few photos of the interior of the upstairs. What I've seen looks pretty good. I was rather impressed with it. However, I've only seen a couple of photos. I don't know the extent of it. I don't know if it's one corner of one room. You know, is it a movie set? I don't know. I haven't been able to get any details. As I said, I'd spoken with Mr. Coffey today, and he said he was going to be up here. He was going to bring photos. He was going to bring receipts for the work that he had been doing, supplies that he had, but I have not seen him here yet this evening. So I talked to a couple of the other commissioners here on this as well. My personal opinion is, as multiple of the commissioners had said in the past, that there is some historical value there. It does have the ability to be rehabbed and redone and be a beautiful house. My concern with it is the individual that is currently supposed to be doing that doesn't seem to be getting anything done at any noted pace. I know there's been some conditions and concerns about what was going to happen with it. I've heard of receipts that he supposedly has for a metal roof. I heard of beams that were installed or put in to support the flooring and the foundation. However, I have not been able to personally lay my eyes on the upstairs or the beams or the receipts or the metal or any of this, so I don't know if it's real or just a mirage. I'm not against personally giving an extension on this, but with some pretty specific hard and fast stipulations on it as far as what would need to be done, and no ifs, ands, or buts, because thus far it doesn't seem to be visibly any different or any better than it really was 6 months ago.
What stipulations would you suggest?
Well, so for instance, one of my concerns is even with the brick repair and tuck pointing work that was done on the front of the building, I actually had to go over and put a stop work order on that because he didn't have any kind of building permits for that. He doesn't have any building permits for the roof, for any painting, any work on it, because we have no plans as far as what he says he's going to be doing. So I think my first one that I would want to see is that we have a, work permits, or we have building permits for whatever work is going to be done. And that we have plans, or we know what is or expected to be done, and to get kind of an idea of a time frame on it, because at the current pace, we're talking about a 10 to 20 year process, and I don't think we all want to look at it that way. One of the other big things is just the basic property maintenance on the exterior, like mowing. There's 2.5 foot tall grass around the concrete pad where the front entry is. No reason for that. If we're going to clean it up and make it look better, that'd be one of the easiest things to do. Keep the grass trimmed up, keep the exterior free of trash and debris. It's all of the interior rooms are on the bottom floor are just piled up with trash and debris inside. It wouldn't be anything to get that cleaned out. You know, the small things can make a huge difference, but I don't see any of that happening. So
Yeah,
I think
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I know, you know, we more than likely are just had a very historical brick church burn. My church burned, and Shane's church burned the last week, and I know this is a historical building as well, so that's why I'd really like to be able to look at this. Is it feasible, you know, and can there be more of a sense of urgency, you know, as far as progress on what's going on with this old historical house? I guess I would ask, Josh, I think you're familiar with that home. Have you been there and seen any type of progress or talked to the guy that's doing the work? Is there anything you can update us with?
I've talked to Coffee.
No, I've just told him to stay in contact. No, I just had him. I told him to stay in contact with Bill and Thomas, and I was staying out of it. So whatever. I told Thomas whatever he decide. You know, I had him 100%. You know, I told him if he's interested in it, I can always foreclose on it and donate it. That's not a big deal to me. So whatever you guys decide or whatever Thomas decides, I'm good with.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you hadn't had any conversations or had seen anything different than what Thomas had brought to us this evening. I appreciate that.
Like I said, yeah, I've had Coffee just stay in contact with Bill and Thomas. So whatever Thomas has, that's all the contact that's been made.
Okay.
So limited
do Thomas,
with you.
do you think he has the finances to actually to do the work that needs to be done in a reasonable amount of time?
You know, unfortunately, I don't know what his finances are. If he has a lot of the materials that he says he does, I think he's off to a good start. And I think it could be done reasonably priced, especially if he has what he says he does. But I've yet to been able to verify the existence of this stuff. And I don't want to, you know, question him, but I mean, I've asked for it on multiple occasions, and just as this evening when he said he was going to be here to provide a lot of this information for us, I've still gotten nothing. The other concern that I have is with some of the work that's being done, and I know this isn't him. However, at the same time, it is my understanding still his responsibility to make sure that his contractors are working and doing the work properly. His scaffolding, for instance, is about as far from OSHA standards as could be. There's one support on the entire upper portion, not the required, you know, 2 for each set. And so, I mean, I think if we're moving forward, we're gonna have to make sure that not only is it done to city code standard, but as far as OSHA safety standards as well. And I don't know what hours or my ability to put a stop to that is, but it's not something that anybody that looked at would say was right.
Okay, so would anyone have an issue, or can we? I know we have a bid out there for the building. Can we make a request that he be at this next meeting to show us the progress that he's made, the materials, the receipts, and that he has the means or his secured financing to make these repairs in a reasonable amount of time?
Hey,
Would that bid still be good, Diane?
Yes.
hey, Tim, I just got a text from him. He works for Nate Lyons. He said he had to pick up and pay for an arch window by 6:30. The builder needed it today to return to Texas to work. He's headed back to his house to grab the metal roof receipts, window pane, caulking receipts. He'll get there as fast as he can. So he'll be here.
Well, why don't we, and for the sake of time, why don't we have him make an appearance and have all that stuff at the next commission meeting?
No, he's coming now.
Who's coming now?
Yeah.
Okay.
How long will it be?
I don't know. 15 minutes, we can go on with some other stuff.
Next is city manager. Okay. If you don't mind, stick around. We're gonna hold off on this, put a pause in it. Next is city manager comments.
All right, the first thing on the list is the ag engineering agreement. It's in your packet there. Frank Young made this out. It's for the extension of the lake dam, the surveying, the inspection, and everything needed, and the report that he'll send to the Kansas Department of Agriculture. He states in there that it's the agreement is not to exceed $3,000 is his agreement with us.
If nobody has any questions about it, I'll motion that we accept the proposal from Ag Engineering to certify the work at the lake dam.
I'll second it.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Yes.
The second item on the list is the lake expansion parking. This was required basically in lieu of parking in the emergency spillway, so that way we can get people off of that. Now, in the estimate in your packet, we'd estimated some $17,100 for the gravel and parking and all of that, and then $600 for the posts and the cable and concrete. We figured that with our discount and did concrete and fuel and everything and material and labor, or well, not labor, but material. We feel like we can do it with city resources for under $12,000 for the post, cable, and all the rock, getting that out there, getting it spread and put out.
12,000.
Yes, instead of 17 and change. 17.7. And that would have to be voted on to be taken out of lake funds if you so approve.
So were we talking about having our guys do the work?
Yes.
Which guys?
Well, we'll do it this fall with the street team. Okay. But we'll have to wait till this fall after we get our streets done.
So you're talking about item number 5 on here?
No, number 2. Item number 2.
You have the correct paper. On the agenda, it's under city manager comments, item number 2.
Lake Fort Scott parking expansion.
Okay.
On the list you're looking at, Madam Mayor, it would be item number 6.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, it's 5 and 6. Yeah, on the list.
This is, our ending balance will be $210,700 is what's going to be left over in that funding.
Yeah, but it would be more since we're going to be able to save 5,000. So it'd be 215, about 216.
Actually, the total that's there at the end, Madam Mayor, is the total that I put together based upon how much money was in the lake fund
We've been asking
minus
for it, yeah.
minus these items, and then that's what would be expected to be left after these projects are completed.
Where would we get the gravel?
From the Thomas Quarry.
I will say to everyone, for my part, I will be against using our street crews for work out at the lake. As of right now, I know that we have a tremendous amount of street work that needs to be done. We had slated for this winter to be working on alleyways in at least one of the wards, regrading and repairing those as per the street maintenance plan that we had put forth. We have work that will need to be done on the brick streets. We have quite a lot of work for our street guys to do. I don't know that it would be the best use of them out at the lake doing this particular project. And that's my feelings on the matter.
One of the things we do, Matthew, is it's a nice rainy day project where we can't be out pouring concrete or laying brick. So it's only bad weather's days, which it's a nice trade-off.
Since we're going to wait till the fall, is there any reason why we can't send this out to bid, at least see what bids will be?
Sure. You bet. Do you want to do it with the gravel through our disc? Well, I'm not sure if we can do it through our discounted.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can do it where we supply the gravel, but they got to pick it up and haul it.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah. But yeah, it's a bad weather condition time. Yeah.
I'd be more at peace with that. I just know the amount of work that we have before.
Well, the guys were just wanting to know if they were picking it up on bad days when they couldn't work on streets or anything else, where it's raining or snowing. Okay. The third item on the let's say manager's comments is leak detection. One of the things we talked about was our leaking. Bill Lemke is here to talk about that a little bit.
Western Leak Detection is a company that we have used in the past. What they do is they come in, they'll spend 3 to 5 nights. They work overnight, and they come in and they do a survey on our water distribution system, listening for leaks and stuff like that. We have the capability to do some of this work, but we're kind of restricted to daytime use, and that's not ideal conditions to be listening for leaks. There's too much ambient noise. Trains go through town, traffic, stuff like that. It just makes it very difficult. Plus, also these guys are professionals at what they do. When they're done, they give us a report along with maps that tell us pinpoint where the leak is. So all we have to do is we get this report, we go out and put our locates in, and generally speaking, they're within a couple feet, and so we can just get these things fixed. We thought this would be a good idea to do on a one-time basis this year because our water loss looked like it was climbing, and although we don't believe we have any major leaks out there, several small leaks can be the same as a major leak. So we just thought this would be a good idea to have this done at this time so that we can either fix it or rule it out.
Bill, have you worked with this company before?
Yes. Yes, they used years ago before we had the capability of doing some of this on our own. They would come in every year, but it was costing us around about $5,000 every year contract, and we got our own equipment so that we could go out. If we suspected a leak was in the area or something like that, we could try to do it ourselves. But with the number of leaks we've had this year, the frequency they've been happening, we just felt like it's time to have them come back in and let's just get a group, you know, give you an idea, since Thursday, I've had 6 new leaks come up just in a short time span. And some of it's deteriorated pipe, some of it's just the ground conditions so dang dry that it takes them a long time to show up.
Do they feel confident that I see it says 100% of the system. So they'll go through and listen to every.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
We will probably try to focus them in on some of the old areas, the areas that are most prone to leaking. For example, the south end of town that's a newer part of our system. So although they'll do some spot checking through there, they'll probably primarily focus on like North 12th Street. Okay. So, and like I said, it usually takes them 3 to 5 days. Or I'm sorry, 3 to 5 nights.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Bill, how many leaks have we had this calendar year?
I don't have the current number. Last I checked, we were approximately 60.
And how many miles of water line do we have?
Somewhere in the neighborhood. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's quite a bit. Mileage, probably closer to 75.
75. And 60 leaks?
Estimate on my part right now. I mean, I can look it up, but I don't have the information with it right now.
Including like 3 mains that blew up in just the last week, correct? And would you feel comfortable? We had heard a report before that we were somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% on leakage.
Yes. Now, some of that might be due to the fire department flushed hydrants earlier this year. Some of that might be there. We just want to try to get that number lowered if all possible.
Oh, yes.
Like I said, some of it we can probably clean up just paperwork wise.
Okay.
But if it's an actual leak, we want to try to get that stopped.
Right. So I'm just reading through the contract. They said that they would go out and they would listen to all areas and then go and focus in on the areas that you were wanting them to focus in. Yeah. That'll still be the case. They'll still take a listen to all the main valves.
About 3 areas right now that I want to pay particularly attention to because I'm pretty sure there's a leak there. I just can't find it. We've tried to go out and do our own survey on it. One of them I even called in Kansas Rural Water to listen to this line because it was bad enough. They came in, they did find a leak for us, and we did get it repaired, but there's still water surfacing. So obviously there's still another leak someplace, and I don't know where it's at. It's small and persistent. So that'll be one area that I'll have them, I'll say, be sure to check this one.
Yes, sir.
There'll be some others that I'll be doing the same thing.
But in light of the leakage that we've had reported to us, in light of what we want to get done next year with the dig crew and focusing on repairing these leaking lines, I'm going to motion that we go ahead and accept this to get this company in this fall to start diagnosing these leaks and helping our water department locate where they are so we can figure out what we need to repair.
So it's just the $2,600 is what we're going to cost for us to do it one time, the $2,600.
Kelly, do you have the amount?
It's actually 6,800 for the first year.
Yeah.
And we just do it 1 year, and then like Matthew said, we'd start doing our own. But what this does is this will gets after the stuff that's bleeding us off that we can't see. It's not a big leak, and those are easy to see. It's the little bleeders that we can't detect.
I'll second it.
If we find and repair 2 leaks, we'll make our money back. That's
Right.
the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they, in this report that they give you, this is one that was done in 2017. They found 11 leaks. When we repaired them all, they tell you how many dollars per year you'd spend. Estimate payback was 7 weeks on this year, getting those 11 leaks.
This was the last work that they did for us that we're passing around.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we already had a second, but I had a Matthew motioned and Shane seconded it. Josh Jones.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Tim Van Hickey.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Thank you for looking into that, Bill.
Item number 4 on the report and comments is the consideration of removal of special assessments from 736 South Heilman. That's the old nursing home, and this rural redevelopment group has bought it, and they're going to turn it into apartments. It has $6,320 of mowing specials on it, and they asked if the commission would be interested in or gracious enough to remove those specials or any amount or whatever they could do.
Was he aware of this specials on it before he purchased it?
I'm assuming so. However, in the light of a lot of communities, then like the land bank, we try to incentivize that so people spend more money in development rather than on paying past bills. Now they will have
Do we
to
have
pay.
some kind of,
Go
do we
ahead.
have a call back in there where they'll be added back on if no work is completed to the building?
That is good. We can draw up an agreement that if they don't do, as they say, in a year, that these go back on there.
Yeah, I think I'd be good with that.
Bob?
Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem.
Kelly, have they provided us with any plans or anything of, I mean, I know it's going to be like an apartment development, but have they submitted kind of an outline of where they at, to Josh's point,
Rob,
the time frame?
Rob has been working with them, several meetings with them. I do know that. He's gone.
He's picking up kids.
Yeah, he
I
is.
know that they've worked with codes, and they're going to get those plans to us as they go. Yeah. I don't know. You have anything that's in house from that group, Thomas?
I'm sorry, I stepped out.
Okay. It's the old nursing home on the rural redevelopment group that is turning that into apartments.
I don't personally have anything on it. I can take a look for us to see what we have.
I do like the idea of them providing, or a time frame being set.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see another building bought that someone buys with plans and it sits there for 3 more years, 4 more years with nothing being done.
Correct.
Tim, now
But
this
Katie,
this
if
company,
you said Rob,
he's been working with Rob on several meetings. This is an investment group that goes out and buys and revamps places like this.
Rarities is what he said.
He just texted me and said they do have plans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're just not published.
So Josh, was that a motion to waive all the fees if we include the 1-year replacement if no work is done?
well, I think that was.
Yeah, I don't.
Gosh.
There's a delay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the proper wording, because if you say no work's done, I mean, heck, they could put a new door on it, I guess. So whatever the proper wording would be, Bob, that you would think that would be sufficient.
Significant change to the
Yeah,
building.
well, we'll trust me, if you want us to prepare an agreement, we'll take care of you, because I know what you mean. You want the project substantially complete. We can't really say anything right now because I don't know how long it's going to take them to start with. If they say, well, we'll be done in a year, then it would make sense to do substantial completion. If they say, well, it's going to be a 3-year project, then we have to go back and say, well, where are you going to be in a year? That would be satisfactory with us. Okay. So if you'll just
leave it
tell
in
us
your
to do
capable
it,
hands.
well, I don't know about how capable, but if you'll leave it in our hands, we can then get together with Rob and talk to the folks and get you the information. I think come back with something that would satisfy you, because it isn't going to be removed until you do that.
So what motion do we have before us, Ms. Diane?
Kind of a couple. Approve to waive the assessments that add back on if no significant work is done. And then do you want that brought back to you so you can see this agreement?
Yeah, I think
before?
I think in all fairness, I feel more comfortable if they've looked at the agreement and approved it.
So Josh, are you comfortable if we table this until Bob gets us back something to take a look at?
Yeah, that's fine.
Then I motion that we table this until Bob brings us back something.
Second.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
The fifth item on the my report is the discussion, if there is discussion or comments or thoughts. One of the things we've been meeting with is our parking lot group in our downtown district, and coming up with an idea to chase people to the free parking. We feel like we could designate it, but then people wouldn't stay in those designations. Now, the discussion was if we designate it and they don't stay, then we either are going to ticket and or after so many tickets, we would tow their vehicle. It depends on, this would be a really nice revenue stream, but the reality of it is if people want free parking, they can go to the free parking lot. God knows they circle all of the business district areas. But what it would do is give those businesses immediate parking out in front. So, thoughts?
Are we paying an extra police officer to do the tickets?
Well, that would
like that?
I mean, it might. Most of them are credit cards, and they take credit cards. They would be leased from a parking meter company and maintenance by them. But we could do that if we wanted to. Is have a parking meter person.
Maid.
Meter person, yeah.
We had one in the past that used to walk around and put chalk marks on people's tires when they stood there too long. So.
Yeah.
Brad, did you want to speak on this?
Constitutional
What we
muster
could
very
get?
long.
Well, Brad has a little information on it that he checked into it, and
that was a great idea.
yeah.
Good evening. Yes, I've been doing a lot of research on feasibilities for parking meters and what the revenue stream would be, but the most important part is getting open spots downtown for our businesses. Yes. As you know, I think it's this Thursday or Friday, we're getting ready to have a new pizza parlor open up. If any of you came down during the day yesterday or Sunday, not very many spots are open and no businesses are open. So we've got to get spots open for those businesses to be able to run. So like Kelly said, pushing the vehicles off to the free parking is very essential. How do you do that? You can put signs up. People are going to ignore it. So the only way you could do it is go back to the old school and possibly put meters on there. Of course, we would designate it to where it's free during a certain amount of time for overnight stays or whatever, but we're looking into, how much we charge, what's the severity if you don't leave, if you don't pay, The newfangled parking meters now can be coin operated, dollar operated, credit card operated. You have an app on your phone that you just push on there. There's a lot of different things than from the olden days when I was a kid and got excited to put a dime in there. So, and there's a lot of opportunities. Plus, the ones that I've been reading up on will give you a report that shows how much parking is going on downtown in a certain parking spot. So that will allow us to see where we're getting the most bang for our buck. But with that, we are also working on parking lots. As you can tell, if you've been down by Hometown, we've got that parking lot going. We also are working on the one next to Margot's beauty parlor. We are working on getting parking blocks created, built in-house, just waiting on some rainy days for that, or we've got an idea for maybe some free labor that could do that for us. Just have to get them across the street and get that taken care of. But right now, it's just in the feasibility stage for the meters. As Kelly said, the revenue, a small town similar to us, 100 parking meters, they're saying feasibility of $250,000 a year.
How many parking spots are downtown? Do we have a number?
Depending on where we go, I would say 100 would be a safe bet, but it changes all the time of how far we're going to go, where we're going to go. So once we get that set, then we can come back with a good number. But right now we're in an early stage. We do have a small group that's working on this project. Some business owners uptown are also part of this. But I totally agree with them. If we don't do something, we're going to be in trouble, or they will be, their businesses, because we can't find parking. So I feel we have it. We just got to get people in the right spots. So
parking.
Brad, what's the cost to lease per meter?
They have not come back with that yet. It is a lease, or you can purchase it, but it goes right off of your revenues. They're saying after everything, this small town in Maryland was getting $250,000 after their lease. They're paying their lease, and that's on 100 meters.
If these are meters that require, or you can use credit cards or whatever in, then that's telling me that's something that's got to be wired in. Have we looked as far as what we have from an infrastructure standpoint down Main Street to actually install these meters? And I mean, we're going to have to run the wire up through them. Traditionally, the wire doesn't come in from overhead for something like that. Have we looked at what kind of cost that's going to be as well? I mean, are they going to install them? Are we going to have to install them? What's the path forward there?
The company that I've talked to installs them for you. Now, of course, we'd probably have to come in and drill the holes and get that set and put the bolts, lag bolts in, but they will come in and set them for you. For the Wi-Fi or the cloud, that will be something that we could work on when we get deeper into this.
They probably work on Wi-Fi or like on local cellular networks.
Yeah.
I know the ones that they'd have down in Bentonville, they have a lithium battery, so there were no wires needed. You just had like a 12-year lithium battery that they put in there, and then it connects.
Really?
Is this individual meters? Because I've seen them in one big block.
Yeah,
also, that you got to.
These are individual.
Okay.
Now, I've seen what you're saying too. Plus, they've got some that's got a couple on a stand.
Together.
We've got some options. Tried to find something that looked historic, that would go downtown really nice. Also,
about a meter made on a horse.
Yes, that'd be great. Also, they have some that has a blinking light that if you don't, say your quarter or whatever runs out, a blinking light comes on. Basically, it tells whoever's driving the golf cart or whatever, the meter person, that hey, this one's past their time. But you know, if you do a credit card, it just continues charging your credit card. So, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So basically, it's like the car wash. You better push the button, or you're gonna have a $50 car wash. But yeah, it's in the early stages. and we'll continue updating it for you.
How quickly can we get them?
I would, with everything, I would say first of the year. I would say that's fair, especially with components being the way they are back ordered. But I'll keep you updated though.
Other comments? Kind of what I'm wanting is if it's okay to go ahead and proceed from the commission on this, because it's to the community, it's a fairly big project.
I'm a yes.
Can we get something from different business owners and everything?
Well, I'm not looking for a vote. Just if we can kind of keep updating and proceeding, then you guys can be talking, deciding, thinking, that kind of thing. Listening to people. But we don't see a better resolution, and I really don't want to see the city have to have vehicles towed and get mean about moving people that shouldn't be in parking places. If we went to assigned parking is the thing.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
We're trying to get an ETA. Dave, Bruner.
Good evening. I just want to touch on a couple things this evening. The first thing is we recently, every 5 years, we have basically an evaluation from the insurance, from ISO insurance service offices. This is a public protection classification for our department. Basically what this does is it looks at, every 5 years they come in, they look at our personnel, our equipment, our vehicles, communications, our dispatching, water supply, and our training, how we, our recertification, our continuing education, our driver training. They go through our incident reports. We lay out everything for them so they can take a look. In 2017, they classify, and actually your classification is from a 1 to a 10, 1 being the best and 10 being the worst. In 2017, we were classified as a 3-3X. And in our 2022, we are classified, we remain the same as a 3-3X as well. Our next evaluation will be in 2027, unless there are some things obviously that we can work on. I mean, every time there's things that we can work on. Some of it is costly, others we can do. So we've got a couple ideas to work to try to improve this, or at least get our number up a little higher so we can still remain the same there. If we do that, we feel comfortable that we could increase, then we can always ask for another evaluation. But for 2022, it'll be in effect December 1st of 2022, and it'll last for 5 years, and that will be our evaluation for the insurance companies. When businesses come in, this is how they evaluate and assign their ratings.
I'm a 3X, so I think that's a good rating.
Right? We'll take it. The last thing I want to do, I just want to, and I'm going to apologize right off the bat if I forget anybody. But I just want to give a thank you. Last week was a very busy week for our department. We had a lot of times we call these career fires. We had the St. Mary's Church catch on fire last Monday evening. And some thank yous I just want to take out there. Obviously, the police department, Bourbon County Sheriff's Office, dispatch. I know at one time when I arrived on scene, I had a police officer right there beside me. As I was rattling things, he was on the radio just letting dispatch know this is what I needed. And that was great because he was right there beside me. EMS, it's always, all these departments that I'm going to mention it's a pleasure to work with them. They all know their duties. They all know their jobs. They pitch in and help out wherever they can. To see EMS people drag hoses, it's amazing. To see police department, sheriff's office do anything we ask, it's amazing. And I hope that we do the same thing for them when we need to. Public Works, barricades, Bill Limke with the water department, Scott Flater with the production. That's a one phone call to make sure that we are getting the most out of our water system that we can. Scott Township Rural Fire Department, Bourbon County District 3, Garland Fire Department. I did forget them. There was one member of that department that showed up as well. Nevada Fire with our agreements. Whether we have an agreements, we call, they come. They call us, we go there. I mean, it's a relationship we have, a very good relationship. Arma Fire Department called us and said, "Hey, we're bringing a truck and 3 guys to cover your station while you have this call." That was amazing. City Representatives Brad Mackin and his family brought food. Brad was there the whole time. Shane Walker was one of my first calls to him. He was a member of the church. I wanted him right there beside me. The St. Mary's congregation, can't thank them enough for food, for drinks, for support, prayers, everything they could do. It was amazing to see that congregation come together. And lastly, my department. I am very proud to serve as fire chief of this department. I'm very proud of Deputy Chief Miles and all of my guys. They sacrifice every day, the calls they go on, and they sacrifice every day for the city of Fort Scott. This was, like I said, this was a career fire for a lot of them. A lot of them didn't even have a year on the job. Everyone fought hard, as they do on every call. We don't ask. The call comes out and they're there. And also, our crews are 4-man crews. I have 14 people total in my department. And it's, a lot of those guys, every one of them came in. I think we had 13 total. And we actually fought a fire that morning at a structure. They come in, they leave their families at night. A lot of them didn't come home till the next morning. So I just wanted to thank those guys and thank everyone that was there, and I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you. I know I'm jumping around. I think Doug Guns. I know you're not on here, but I know we have a couple questions for you about the projects with the lake.
Sure. I will try and answer best I can.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Oh, just me? Okay. As far as the water coming in, that was going to come from the airport, correct?
Water from the airport.
So as one of the projects that was laid out on the work that the people at the lake wanted to get done was bringing in water and electricity to that area.
Okay.
And so there was a quote on there for $65,000 to bring in water from the airport.
Yeah, from that direction, yes.
Okay.
It was from Roar Water to set a meter set where the brush pile is. So then we would have to go from that meter set into the desired locations, and that would be on top of that $65,000.
Okay. Is that with them doing the rock channeling?
Yes. Okay. That was a full quote just for Roar Water to drop a meter in that location.
And that water would be the one that would tile from over there at what's run to the airport, correct?
As far as I know, yes. I mean, that was Roar Water just kind of, you guys should have the diagram. It was really just a Sharpie line on a map.
Right.
So,
Kelly, do we have any rock equipment?
Most likely need a rock saw. No, we don't.
Okay.
The problem with that is the cost of the teeth.
My question on that was if there was any way we could see if we could bid out that portion of it? Because when I looked at the quote, that seemed to be the highest portion of the bill, was cutting the channel in the ground to run the pipe from there to the lake.
The quote we got was from Royal Water, and that was them, either subcontracting it out or doing it all on their own. That was their quote. It had really nothing to do with us as far as, an RFP or any kind of bid out or anything. So it was just, I contacted Royal Water, and then they said, this is what we would do it for.
Is there any way that we can go out for RFP on cutting that channel for them and then having them just lay them?
I'm not sure. I can contact them and find out. But at the time, it was contact Rural Water and see what they can do, and that's what they came up with.
Yep.
Now, one thing you ought to know, that's the easiest part, coming from the roadway in. It's actually where it's this setter or the meter box is going to set. It becomes solid rock from there to the shelter house. So you're on that rock outcropping. So every foot from there, you'd want to go from where that meter box is set and then also get a price per foot of what it would take to bring that in. And that wasn't in Frank Halsey's bid. Frank just did the building. So, yeah.
That's what I wanted to know, is if we could get a quote on. Yes.
Basically.
So that we can get those.
If you could get a per foot price, that's
right. Because looking at the money that we have left, we have about enough money after everything's done to bring the water in and get the shelter house done. That's what I see when I look at the numbers right now. So I want to find out exactly what it's going to cost to get that project done, to see if we can move forward with it to help get those lake people one of the items that they really wanted, which was those ADA restrooms and a shelter house and a wash house. Okay. So if you can make those calls and get that stuff figured out, and then bring us back a couple prices on exactly what it's going to cost to do that specific part of the project. Get the water in, get the electric in, get the shelter house set up.
So the electric, you should have somewhere a cost on that. That was Heartland Electric, and that the cost that they gave us was just to do an overhead line to like a meter set, and then so from there it would need a licensed electrician to do a service panel, and then any kind of hookups after that.
Right. And if for some reason they were able to put that pole somewhere near where the water meter's going to be, and then we have to channel out for the water, we could.
So no, the electric would be completely on the other side where the RV parking. It would just be coming from just across the road from that.
Okay. So there's no way to bury that one. We'd have to run that one overhead.
They suggested doing overhead just because of the rock sawing. They don't have the equipment to do it, but they could set a pole on the opposite side of the road and do an overhead line.
Okay. I would like to have something that we can present to the commission to see if they will vote to move forward, so that we can get one of those projects done out there at the lake for those people. Okay.
Sure. I'll contact Rural Water and get working on it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help.
And then I will let you know that the docks are still on schedule. I got a call from them today.
Okay.
They're still hopefully scheduling for October. I have a contract for somebody to sign, and then they, want their deposit and that kind of thing. So.
And then the fishing docks that we were going to try to go for a grant on with the Kansas Wildlife.
That'll probably be a 2023 project that we'll work on with Mr. Don George. I've been talking to him about it. So once we get an idea, but it would just be contacting him, and when the grant's let, and they're available for putting in applications for, then we'll move on that.
Have you had an opportunity to contact Emily there at Bourbon County Ready, who helps write the grants for our city, to see if there are any grants available for us to get for the ADA bathroom, since that will be part of the project?
I can contact them and find out what's available.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hey, Doug, while you're there, do you mind if I segue to a couple of other questions? Because I know you're at a lot of meetings, but not all of them. I had some folks reach out to me a little bit concerned about out at the golf course. I see, and I think it's great. I've actually done one myself, a night golf tournament in October. And for that tournament out there, I mean, if we're using our carts have no lights on them, and I think a lot of people that have played that course know that that course can be kind of treacherous, especially if you're driving down the 15th hole. So have we looked at, are we coming up with something for lights? Are we asking folks to sign any kind of a liability piece? I mean, if we're going to provide them city carts in that environment, beautiful golf course, but it can be hazardous, especially at night and if there's alcohol involved.
I agree with you. I know Fort Scott Community College is putting on that event, and as far as I know, talking to Tom Havron, they were going to supply each golfer with like a swag bag with a headlamp in it, as far as I understand. So each golfer would be given a flashlight. I did talk to Brad Matkin. He was going to check on our liability if there's any issues with that. So
yeah, night golf. Yeah, night golf is fun, but I just think of some of our cart paths out there, and I'm thinking that could be a little hazardous for our carts and all if someone's had a few too many. But okay, yeah, I'll wait. I'll get with Brad on that then, since he's checking in on that.
I don't want to put a damper on anybody's event, but I think I'm obligated to mention to you folks that putting unlighted golf carts on a golf course at night is probably not in our best interest, and that a flashlight is, I am pretty confident if we check with our liability carrier, they would just pass out. So somebody might want to have a talk with the college if they can come up with a better idea to put some real headlights on those things.
Not a headlamp.
I'm kind of with the commissioner. That course could be very treacherous at night.
So we did. I suggested to the college that maybe they do a 9-hole event and stay on the top 9.
Yes.
To stay away from the more treacherous holes on the bottom 9. So that was an option. They would like to do an 18-hole tournament. So.
Well, I'd like to do a lot of things, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I can advise these folks to sign off on it.
We want to play in it.
Pardon?
We want to play in it.
Well, that's fine. If
I know they make those LED headlights that run off battery packs.
Yeah.
In defense of that, though, we use those down in the trails. We ride at night in the trails like once a week usually when it's not hot. And those lights are bright. There are ones that are available. I don't know about the ones you mount on your head, but
well,
ones we have for our bikes.
I don't either, and I'm not suggesting that anybody ride on the trails at night either. But I just thought I would say that.
So I know, the college outfitting golfers with any kind of lighting or the golf carts with lighting might change the fees that they are charging for this tournament. So
sure, that
would be definitely a Tom Havern question to see what he had planned.
That's all.
Let me ask, I guess, if, we have plenty of time before then, I guess just going out there at night and whatever they're proposing, just see what it looks like at night, maybe, just kind of get an idea.
Depending on the phase of the moon that night, it's dark. I've been out there at night, cutting cups and doing sprinklers and stuff before tournaments, and it's pretty dark.
Yeah. Well, if we just get out there a couple nights or whatever, just kind of get an idea, it'd be great.
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're going to do that too, I mean, I'll volunteer to go out there and do that. But first, I need to make sure I drink a 6-pack before I do it.
Or 2.
With a headlamp.
With a headlamp, yes.
With a headlamp.
Speaking of hole 15, someone had asked me. We used to have a fan out there that blew on that green to help.
It is dysfunctional, so that is our plan, is to repair it.
Awesome.
Doug, one more thing that I've gotten a lot of calls from folks on too is, and I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Do we have? I don't see like a posted big set of golf course rules out there. I know we're a small city. People have fun. We want people to have fun, but it seems like more and more we're getting groups of 7, 8, or more people out there. And if you're out there playing on a Sunday, I've also seen myself where 4 guys are in 2 carts with 2 sets of clubs that they're splitting, hitting 4 different shots, which really kind of slows down the play on the weekend. So that's heating up a little bit. Have we got something published somewhere that I can take a look at as far as what, I mean, every other course has has rules as far as size of groups and things like that. I think we need to start looking at that, because I think eventually folks that played regularly out there are really starting to get frustrated.
I agree. Yeah, we have a golf advisory board meeting this Thursday at noon, and that was one of the items that I've talked with a couple of the advisory board members about, and that we're going to try and talk to it and hash out. Maybe we can come up with a good set of rules to publish.
Yeah, I think publish and put them on a signboard out there somewhere, maybe outside under the balcony or something out there, because like I said, everyone's having fun. Golf's a great game. I'm glad they're playing, but I was out there Sunday before last playing, and it took us about 6.5 hours to play a round of golf, and we were playing, for the four of us, we were just playing a scramble, 2-man teams, and it still took us almost 6 hours, 6.5 hours to play a round of golf.
Yeah, it was really busy this weekend, so I think everybody can attest that played this weekend that, it was very busy.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No, sir. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Commissioner reports? Anything?
Brunner and the fire. I was there from about, I don't know, when it started smoking till 3, 4 in the morning. Had the guys not did what they did, and the people that came wouldn't have came, we would have lost our church. What Dave did with the Nevada fire people in the back basically saved everything in our church that was really important to us. That church is like really hard to do anything in. Sitting there watching them do what they did, and I was a fireman years ago when Dave started being a fireman. They couldn't have did any better of a job. That he's right about that being like a lifetime fire. That it was a bad situation, but it could have been far worse. But I thank them all for doing what they did.
Kelly, I have one question. When is 6th Street going to be open? I've had several comments and questions about 6th Street.
I want to kind of go on record to say that we've had a lot of discussion about the loose gravel, so we've had to shut the streets down completely. It takes 48 hours to drive to get the sweeper over it. So to keep people safe, we've shut the street down, work on it, and then move down if we have to. But that it takes 48 hours at least, minimum.
Where are we at it? On it? How much farther do we have to go on it?
I'm not sure exactly how much further the guys. I'm not sure how far they got today.
Okay, because it's causing some issues on Horton and school routes for buses.
Okay.
So.
But that's the thing. We've been approached by several that threaten to get out there and spin their motorcycles and break them and sue us. And after the accident over on Broadway, we've been a lot more careful in getting it where we can get the gravel picked up off of even the patches, the repairs. So that's the problem. We're kind of under the rock if we do and if we don't.
Right.
And I would like everyone to keep in mind, we have a set of standards and specifications that says exactly how we're supposed to do this work. And in those standards and specifications, it says that we have to follow the way it's lined out, which is you close down the block that you're working on, you do the work, you let it cure for 48 hours, you clean it up, and then you remove the roadblocks. And I understand it's an inconvenience to everyone, but in the vein of trying to do a quality job of repairing these streets so that hopefully they last a little bit longer than a year, then we need to do it the way the rules are written. And I would hope that the people out there would understand that by doing it by the way the rules are written, it's going to make the roads last a little bit longer. And that's what we want to do. We want to do it the right way because that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Was this published that road would be closed?
Yes, we did
Okay.
get the word out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And as we go, we're also notifying moving as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same on Cape Seal.
Have anything, other comments? Josh, Tim?
I had
No, I don't have any.
Yeah, I mean, are you calling on me for my commissioner comments at this point?
Yes, sir.
Well, before I go, did the gentleman from 220 South Judson ever show up?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Yeah, my comments, just to echo what Shane had said, you know, I was sitting at home. My wife and I go to Mary Queen of Angels Church. She actually sings in the choir loft every Saturday night. And to get that text from the church Monday night saying that, you know, it was on fire was just very unsettling. And, you know, the work that our first responders did, Dave and his team, and by all means, yes. I mean, we have a police scanner at home, and we could hear that the city crew was out there, the water crew was out there, the whole community came together. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, you lose something, or you think you're losing something that is so precious to you, but then out of that, you also see the sense of community that we have in mitigating this catastrophe, and you know, it warms the heart to see that. So again, I can't thank enough, and the church congregation as well, and all the folks that were involved in this. It's a strong congregation, and we'll come out of this even stronger than we were before. But my prayers for everyone that were part of this and going forward as well. I also wanted to just touch base with you again, Kelly. I saw the email that came back, I believe, from the manager on the smoking on Main Street. Do we know if those butt cans are still out there by the city benches that are within 10 feet of the front door of the building, which violates the Kansas statute?
I don't think so, but I'll check on it. I'll check
I
on
think
that.
originally I think, you know, we get a lot of butts there. We get a lot of cigarette butts in the pavilion downtown. This is stuff that folks, you know, have had an issue with. I think it's just a bad image for our Main Street. And originally, their smoking area was on the west side of those buildings. But when I see that butt cans are now set up by the front door of these buildings on Main Street, and a lot of those butts are on the ground and over at the pavilion, whether it's them doing it or somebody else doing it, we might have to eventually look at maybe some signage or something, or an ordinance regarding smoking on Main Street. I know that I've looked up the Kansas statute, and not only are you not allowed to smoke indoors, but you're not supposed to be within 10 feet of a door outside. And I mean, if we've got to move the city benches or whatever to deter this, not picking on smokers, it's just the appearance of our beautiful downtown and the mess that it leaves behind. And so I would like to, if you would check on that and make sure that those are gone. And if we've got to take other measures, I'll be happy to work with Bob to put something together as far as an ordinance on Main Street goes.
Okay, will do.
And that's all I have.
Josh Jones?
No, I don't have nothing.
Matthew Wells, anything else, sir?
I was asked about over on Elm and Chute, where we had done that work, and those road closed signs have been up for quite a while. What's our anticipated date on having that area open back up?
Well, I know that, and Jason can speak into this. I think Nowalk was going to do that work this week, last week. Anyway, and then was going to get in there and do the dirt work and form that up just as we get our chip seal ready.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Yeah, just to confirm, we reached out to Nowalk. We did our final walkthrough a while back, and they did some repairs. A couple of those didn't hold, so they actually were out late last week finishing a couple seals on those manholes up north. So it is now ready, so it's just up to the crews to be able to fit it in, and will be available.
So we'd be safe to say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should be able to open that back up. Okay, awesome. One of the other things that I wanted to make sure and address this evening is the smell that everyone keeps complaining about. My understanding is that we have a clear plan of action on how to solve this issue.
Yep. Thursday we have a meeting. We finally got our lagoon specialist coming in, so we can start injecting the lagoon with treatment to take care of that. So maybe in another week or so. But sorry for the delay, but we are trying to get ahead of it. But it's been kind of a nagging issue.
Yes. And it might be important to note that it's not an overnight fix. This is something that the issue down there is going to be a long time. We have many projects that we need to work on. One of those, my understanding, is the aeration pumps. Do we already have the engineering done on those, or are we in the process? Sorry, Jason, I meant to get you while you were up there.
No problem. Yeah, at our last update meeting, we did talk about that specifically. After, kind of historically, KDHE did their inspection not too long ago, so now we're doing our monthly reporting. And the two items that kind of came to the front are the aeration, which we'd already looked into that a little bit. We had some proposals to do an initial phase in cell number 1. So that's pretty much, we have a good idea of what that is going to take. But I think moving forward, we want to bid that out. So I've got to work on getting some specifications that cover that aeration. So that's my first priority, is getting the specs and a bid package together for phase 1 of the aeration improvements. The next item that kind of floated to the top, literally, I guess, is the Davis lift station when it overflows. That was one of the big concerns for the state. So that one's not quite as far along. We knew that we needed some initial updates because it's been 20 years since there's been any work. So there's some updates with the pumps and a generator. But for the overflow specifically, we've got to look at, is there additional pumping needs? We think there probably is, and that would be an additional force main to get that overflow, keep it contained in pipes, and get it to the lagoons. Okay. So the goal is to get those out for bid as soon as we can. We've got a call, I think tomorrow, to talk about some treatment plant related stuff. Okay. I think you've talked about treatability study that's been done. So we're going to talk about that he talked about the expert for the lagoons and what specifically can be done to treat the ADM waste that's coming in. That'll be a big discussion point. We've already looked at some costs for a storage tank so that we can meter that flow. Basically, they pump it into the tank instead of directly into the lagoon, where we can, it'll be able to be mixed and pre-treated before it goes into lagoons, which has nothing to do with aeration improvements. That has to happen regardless. Part of that process, the motors, they're there. I know they had to get one worked on. So part of that aeration package is new blower motors to make sure that can function properly. And so it's kind of a different way. I can't remember if commissioners were in that meeting or not, where one of the manufacturers presented all that stuff, where you got different types of diffusion and all that. Excuse me. So anyway, that's all been vetted pretty thoroughly. Once we get back with them and get some good solid specs and bid that out, because initially we thought something kind of specific to that process. It made sense to say that's a single source kind of deal, but following the purchasing rules, we could look at it that way, but we're going to go ahead and try to bid it and see if there's others that can provide the same product. Okay. So hopefully get the best project for the best price. Okay. In that process. So
I just wanted to make sure that there was
in motion.
There was nothing that, if you need anything from us as the commission, I know for many, many, many people that have reached out to me, this is a priority for them right now because of what's going on downtown. So if there's anything you need from us to help this project move along, to get the Davis lift station fixed, to get the aerator pumps installed, whatever we can do as a commission to help you all get that project done as quickly as possible, please, let's move this along.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Kelly, is KDHE been involved at all with this with this issue with the lagoons and the smell and everything else?
No, usually they only, they're not really worried about smell. I mean, outside of people calling in or
Well, I mean,
but we are keeping them updated if they think we're not moving forward in the right direction. Our biggest thing is everybody's always so busy, but putting together the pieces for the next step, the next step, the next step. Once we get the lagoon situated, we'll also, and like Jason said, we're sending in monthly reports. We send our every step we make and every procedure we follow. So that way they also analyze that, Tim, and they can follow what we're doing. But the key thing was to get the treatability study back. Then our lagoon team's going to make recommendations. Then we can get with the Hawkins and get a distribution into the lagoon to start treating that for odor. And then we'll also let KDHE know what we. Now on the bigger side of that, like Jason's talking about, is more of a tank, probably 150,000 gallons to manage that and to pre-treat it before we inject it into the lagoon. And then it would trickle in 24 hours a day. And we'd start managing it better. And then we wouldn't have to, we'd always be out in front of it, is the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get back to the consideration of the demolition bid for 22 South Judson Street. That individual did not show up.
In light of everything that's going on with that, I would like to motion that we give him an extension for 20 days based upon the stipulations that he gets us, that he needs to pull the proper building permits, that we need a plan of action on what's going to be done, that he gets us the receipts on the materials that have been purchased, that there is some property maintenance that takes place as far as mowing, weed eating, and making sure that the site is free of trash and debris. And if he can meet those stipulations within the next 20 days, then we can reassess this. That would be my motion based upon the recommendations of our codes officer.
Actually, Matthew, if you're in agreement, I would like to amend that to our next meeting.
Yeah.
And I'd like him to come in here and show us the plan, and that he has the financials to do it, and the pictures and the receipts and everything that was brought to the attention. I mean, technically, with the amount of time we've already extended, which I think was 90 days, and then not appearing tonight, I think, if he's got all that information now and he's got 2 weeks notice, I would like to make a decision on that by the next meeting based on what he presents to us, if you're okay with amending it to the next commission meeting.
Yes, I will acquiesce to that request.
So 14
Okay,
days.
then.
14 days.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'll move to second that motion as it's amended.
Josh Jones,
Abstain.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, we're bouncing around a little bit there, Diane. Next is the engineering firm comments. You're getting your steps and exercising, aren't you?
Good, I always need it. I'll just go through project status. The CDBG sanitary sewer project still ongoing. We've got a pretty good, I guess, resolution of the city. It covers a lot of the city, different boards all over the place. So we've got some more survey needs on that, but it's ongoing. The schedule for that is to bid by the end of March 23. So we're still doing okay on that. Next one is Horton Street, the KDOT cost share project. We've got survey started and processed for the south half mile. We've done locates for utilities for the whole project. So we're kind of rotating through getting the surveyor in town and doing kind of a week at a time and getting the base map built so we can get those plans going. 17th and Eddy, the drainage project, contractors continuing the work there. The last time I think we had a gas line conflict that has been resolved. The latest at 15th and National, we had that pole moved on the north side previously, but we didn't get it far enough, so Evergy's working with the contractor to move that a little further. But progress is continuing, and we've requested a quote from them to do some work on the ditch on Crawford Street that is south of 17th. Whenever that church parking lot was built, it seems like it's kind of backing up water. We've talked to the residents down there and kind of see the issue, and we're going to try to get something proposed, and I think it'll come to you guys anyway as a change order, so that's pending for that. Next project, the South Industrial Park water line. We do have utility plans out to utility companies. We've coordinated a meeting for this Friday at 10 a.m. here to discuss any questions or concerns with utility companies. Partially, as you can see, with 17th and Eddy, we've already had a couple conflicts during construction. So the goal is to mitigate that just a little bit more than just saying, here's the plans, and they look at it, and until you dig in to the ground, sometimes you just don't know. So we're trying to mitigate some of that future conflicts. So that's this Friday at 10, and that's how we're gonna, these big projects like Horton Street and the Grant project maybe is a little different because it's so spread out, but try to do a utility coordination meeting kind of early to get because what you always hear, especially the bigger ones, they need 9 months to move something. So we want to get ahead of that. The next project, bridge inspections, I know they're due this month. We do have a contract, so tentatively the last week of September is when I'll come out and do those field work for that. We did talk about the treatment plants stuff a little bit, so I guess the main thing is priorities, the aeration and the lift station is what we're focusing on. South Cooper Street, the delay on that was the West Star Evergy easements. I think that's all ready. They're just pending some construction scheduling for those
Jason,
relocations.
Someone had a question about all of the flags that were placed there on the east side of the road running down.
On South Cooper?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's probably the right of way and the easement marking.
Okay. So that
I can go look at that.
That fence is built. There's a fence there that is built, of course, over the right of way. We have a problem with that in this town, building fences on the right of way. Are we going to have codes enforce that and have that fence moved back in order to regain the right of way?
Is that?
I have no idea. Okay.
I'll go look.
Yep.
Yeah, because that right of way changed, this year. So if there was a fence encroachment, we'll just have to chase that down.
Hey, Jason, did we ever get the number on the amount that we held back on National Street since you said they weren't coming back now?
I think we decided they paid half, or you guys paid half of that contract.
Yeah, I knew that's what was talked about, but I haven't seen an actual figure yet.
I'll have to get that to you. Or look, I think it would have probably been, I don't remember, that was a long time ago. When they did their pay request, which would have been substantial completion for 90%. So we brought it to commission, and there was discussion, and I think I just need to look at the minutes. So I'll dig through that.
Yep. My memory might be wrong because I thought you told us that this was a legit company and they would come back and the 10% was enough to hold out. Then I thought we just held out 20 instead, but I'll have to go back and watch that because I think you're pretty sure that they would come back because they're a pretty good company or something like that.
Yes, we always have the hope that they want to show good faith and come back, but it doesn't always happen. The expectation was yes that it would, but so far it has not.
Is this a company you deal with a lot, Jason?
I've dealt with them on occasion over the last 5 years. I've never had an issue like this where they didn't come back. And actually, I'm trying to think if they had to come back on the ones before. If it was a city of Pittsburgh job, I probably wouldn't know. But they've done work in Pittsburgh, and they're doing paving work on 69 highway down there by Arma right now. So they're still doing work.
Yeah, Diane, do you know if we have anything we put in our bid packet to like as like a mark against a company that does something like this?
It's not specific. I mean, you can't.
The city attorney, I'm not aware of
There's
anything.
there's nothing in our bid packet. I would like to think that we have a memory. If you take advantage of us once, that we would be smart enough not to do it again. It's certainly in the minutes, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. So as a commission, you can choose not to solicit certain bidders. That's totally up to you. So.
I mean, really for future commissions is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't know how you keep track of that.
Just put a black mark against them and remove them from everything that we have, so that they're never allowed to bid on anything ever again.
We'll have a big black book with a black mark.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, as city engineers, we would be able to kind of keep track of that type of thing, but as time goes by. So the next paving job we do, they most likely won't be invited to bid at this point. So yeah, I'll check those minutes and get Kelly an email with specifically what was talked about. Because I don't think any action has been taken as far as closing that contract, so at this point I think it's still open. So,
but we haven't paid.
Right, and they haven't asked to be paid. So,
I doubt they will.
Right. And I think last time I reached out, and then Kelly reached out, and I don't think you've heard back. So, and that's been at least a month. So, I don't know if you need to officially do something on that.
We could just vote to terminate the contract. The problem is once you terminate the contract, then it's over, and they have a right to come back
and they can ask for the rest of the money.
And ask for money, right? And then you got to prove and
litigation.
Sometimes you just let the sleeping dog lie, put the money in our pocket. There's no risk to us. We won't owe any more, and we might owe less.
True. So yeah, that's up to you guys how you want to deal with that. But I think enough time has passed that if not this meeting, maybe next meeting, get an agenda item to figure out how you can do it. Whether it's like Mr. Farmer said, let it go and we're not going to talk about it anymore, or take action of some fashion. And the last thing, I just today sent our comments for the CHC work. So you guys can, I sent them to CHC and copied in Codes and Kelly. So that has been looked at. So if there's any questions from them, we'll get those and sort that out. And pending any questions, that's what I've got.
Thank you. Mr. Farmer, do you have any comments?
No, I don't, Mayor.
Do you got the script?
Are we done with that?
Mm-hmm.
All
Executive
right.
session.
We need to go into executive session for the purpose of non-elected personnel pursuant to personnel matters of non-elected personnel exception in KSA 75-4319B1. The 5 commissioners and Bob Farmer for 30 minutes. The meeting will resume in 30 minutes at 8:29. Back in this room. We need to stay in this room so we can maintain this. So
Can do
we'll have
that.
to ask people to go out to the lobby.
Is there a second? Okay. Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
A motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker. Yes. Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Then I move that the city commission recess into executive session for the purpose of personnel matters of non-elected personnel, with the exception of KSA 75-4319B1. In the meeting will be the city attorney, the 5 city commissioners, and the city manager. The open meeting will resume in the meeting room in 30 minutes. Yeah. At 9 o'clock.
Second that.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
I motion that we come out of executive session.
I'll second it.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Tim Van Hickey,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
So now,
You looking at me, partner?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
wondering
looking at
exactly
you.
what we're supposed to do at
Well-
this point.
Well, I want to be real careful because there's somebody that doesn't think I should be telling you anything.
I understand, but
Okay.
legally, will you
Legal
please advise
standpoint.
us on how we
Yeah.
should proceed?
Well, I think you got a couple of options here. One is you could go back into a short executive session, since you kind of were formulating some or articulating some ideas, and complete that if you wanted to,
Yeah.
or just go into public session here, make whatever motions that you think are appropriate. I think it's cleaner if you go back.
And then come back?
Shouldn't take very long.
Well, then I motion that the city commission move into executive session for the purposes of personnel matters of non-elected personnel, exception KSA 75-4319B1 for 5 minutes. The open meeting will resume at 9:07 or 8. Is that right? What time is it?
21:02.
Okay, so 9:07, and we'll have the 5 commissioners and the city attorney.
You sure you don't want to include the city manager?
And the city manager. I'm sorry. Yes,
I think it's
please.
better.
I second that.
Josh Jones. Josh. You there?
Yes.
Okay, Tim Van Hickey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
I think we're good.
Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Diane left. Hold on 1 second, guys. We lost our secretary.
Tim, what time is it there? I've never heard you say that yet.
It's 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. I've been on here since 6:30 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Did you have breakfast?
No, I have not. I'm not going to have time, though. I got to be in a meeting between 10:30 and 11. I've been chomping the Oreos here.
Move to.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Jim Van Ricky,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Josh Jones,
Josh, are you riding a lawnmower?
No.
Tim Van Ricky,
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.